crazy story. Just like the others, how am I always involved? I can't explain it. Must be something in the air, or maybe it's just me. Is it me? Is it me? I can't explain what else.
Welcome back, everybody, to Is It Me? It's Friday, so we've had another week to spiral. I'm so hungover, and I apologize for my demeanor for this episode, but we have a great lineup of guests today. Josh Shapiro is here, my co-host as always, and today's guests, two lovely ladies, Alana Belfort and Sarah Quinn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm not hungover because I'm so anxious that I'm like, I have a podcast to do tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I woke up at 8. Like, I'm not hungover at all, but I'm exhausted because I woke up at 8 a.m. because I was nervous about the podcast and couldn't sleep. And then once I had my alarm set for 10, and then I couldn't fall back asleep, and now we're here. And
It's just like Michelle and I both got drunk last night, got 3 hours of sleep. We're
I got
whacked
no
out of our minds
sleep.
right now.
Oh, man.
I did a bong hit this morning. I did 2 bong hits this morning.
I have been
like,
drinking this morning, though.
Okay,
so,
fuck yeah.
It's okay. We're okay.
I had
We're
coffee
in it.
and then spiraled because I had to pee a lot, but this is way too much because of the coffee, but I've been taking vitamin D, and then I Googled vitamin T and increased urination, and then it's like, you might have vitamin D toxicity. And I'm...
Oof.
Okay, so we're jumping
so now
right
I'm
into it.
spiraling.
toxicity.
I mean, we'll get there. We'll get to that.
Are we allowed
Spoiler
to say
alert.
anything?
Yeah. What
Yes.
words can we?
But yeah, you have to drop an N-word because it's Black History Month.
Okay.
I did not agree to that before.
No, and also that's not really what we do here. But you're spiraling about being on vitamin D. I'm so curious.
I've been trying to be healthier because, I sometimes I see my life spiraling. I'm like, okay, I'll make healthier choices. I realize I don't get sunlight. So I started taking vitamin D, just last week, once a day, every morning. And then today I peed about 4 times in half an hour before I left my house to come here. And then the second I got on the metro, I'm like, I am going to pee my pants. I'm like, I did not have enough coffee.
Long
for this.
peas or short peas?
Like actual peas. I do not
Like
have a
full
UTI.
peas.
Like
And-
full
Okay.
peas.
What color was the pea?
It's very much clear. Like I'm very.
That's healthy.
No, I'm
4
very
clear
hydrated
peas. I mean,
person.
that's a lot. That's
I know, but it's a lot. And then I'm Googling, and I'm like, I've also been taking probiotics. And I'm like Googling everything. And then it said vitamin D.
Maybe
it
the
could be,
probiotics are turning all of your poop into pee.
That's not how
That,
it works.
I feel like that's not how it
think-
works.
You're
That's
not a
not-
scientist,
that's made up.
clearly.
I'm a failed scientist. And I
That's
feel
true.
like even
Sarah's
I
more of
know
a
that.
scientist.
Oh, I heard that apparently if you come up with ways to lose weight, it's like really good clips for podcasts.
Oh,
So I don't know if you guys know, but
Anxiety,
if you take...
spiraling, and it makes you lose your appetite.
That's a good one.
5 best tricks for immediate weight loss.
Yeah.
Here we go.
If you take the right probiotics in the right order, which I'll say at the end of this, it will literally evaporate all of the food that you consume into urine, and it'll be impossible for you to gain weight.
Is this something you just invented
This
off
is
the... Are you
made up.
high right now? And can I get a hit?
Clip it.
No, we're not doing this for clips. I refuse
I'm
to
sorry.
do a podcast for clips.
No, we
in
got it. We
mind.
got it. We're done. I did my co-hosting job. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
fished the clip out for us, and now we're back in it.
You can't make a clip happen. You have to. It has to happen organically.
Listen, I control
like
the
falling
media.
in love.
This is what we do. You brought the media here today.
It's true. I did. Yeah, all of us here together. Wow.
Yeah.
Yesterday, someone came up to me. 2 Hasidic Jews came up to me and asked me if I was Jewish, and I said no. And this happens in Toronto all the time, where people just come up to me and be like, "Sorry, are you Jewish?" And I get that a lot. And I always want to say, "I wish," but I feel like that's not something that you say. It would be a weird thing to say to someone who's Jewish and asking you if you're Jewish, and you're saying, and I'm always like, no, unfortunately, no.
But I'll
sorry.
tell you what, that will be you'll be giving them just enough that they won't stop bothering you, even if you say you wish, or then they're trying to, we don't try to convert in Judaism, but I have had those people in Toronto, they found me, they're Chabad, I guess, so they're trying to make existing Jews more Jewish.
Okay.
And I did, I was flustered, so I was like, yeah, I am Jewish. And they started coming to my office every single Shabbat, every week, with candles and blessings for me.
Oh,
but
that's
it was
nice.
It's nice in theory, but it's also embarrassing when you're in the middle of a meeting and then these 2 Hasidic guys are at the door and your boss is like, Alana, your friends are here.
And they're just here dropping off like candles and blessings.
Yeah.
When I lived in LA, I had these guys like stop me on the street and they're like, "Are you Jewish?" And they were handing out candles, like Shabbat candles to Jewish people. And I'm like, technically half Jewish, but so I'm
Right.
like, I'm kind of half. And they're like, which half? And I'm like, my dad. They're like, it doesn't count. And then they just like walked. They were disgusted. And I was like, but I love that. I wish I was more Jewish.
They were
I
like,
feel the
they
same
were like,
thing.
no candles,
It's
no
the
blessings.
only religion I would be
Yeah.
okay with because they don't want me and they don't believe in heaven or hell. And so I'm like, it's more like a science where you get to be funny.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's a science where you get to be funny. It is, yeah. That is the first instance I've ever heard of like active conversion because it's like that's usually like the Catholics or the big converters.
Yeah, but they're just trying to convert like existing Jews to be more.
To more,
Yeah.
to be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not, then they're
Yeah,
And they're like, have a
no,
good
yeah,
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't care that your grandmother on your
Right.
father's side is a Jew. Like,
Right.
get out of here. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm like,
okay.
Hitler,
Thank you
Hitler
for
considers me a
clarifying.
Jew. So I'm like, Nazis are all in
true.
on me being a Jew. But yeah.
You should have said that. And see how they reacted.
Okay, so wait.
Clip
so
it. No.
Go back to the vitamin D spiral.
Okay. Vitamin D spiral.
Oh.
I mean, this was a very, it's something.
No, keep going.
Okay. So this was a very quick spiral while waiting. Like Alana was very kind, picked me up from the metro, and I was waiting, and I was just Googling what kind of weird illness I could have. Why am I peeing so much? I know it's not a UTI. Is it cancer? Is it that? So I Googled vitamin D, increased urination, and allegedly that is a sign of vitamin D. Too much vitamin D. I thought you couldn't overdose
So
on
did you
vitamin
then
D.
did you take your vitamin D today?
I
still?
already took it, and I've been very good. I've like read about how to increase absorption, and you're supposed to eat it with like fat. So I always eat a piece of cheese or like
Okay.
a yogurt, and so I've been very good with it. And
So
now,
you've been like
but
that-
I'm also a pasty redhead, and we tend to not. It's more like people darker skin have issues with vitamin D absorption. So I probably was okay the whole time.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't need to be taking it, but I'm a creature of
Like
the
your
night.
3 minutes in
I-
the sunlight are enough for you?
Yeah, even I wear sunscreen constantly, but. Yeah,
You wear
maybe, like,
sunscreen in the winter?
yeah, I'm wearing it right. If my face looks particularly pasty, it's my mineral sunscreen that didn't rub in.
shit.
Yeah, that's why I look a little younger than I actually am. We're not gonna talk about how old I am on in the media, but
No, you look so much younger though.
Thank you,
Yeah, than
thank
you
you.
actually are. I know
I-
the truth.
I
and I
had,
was
like-
shocked when I found out.
I
shocked.
had an
Yeah.
aunt, and I think actually my bubby, who was like
Yeah.
my great grandmother, would lie about their age but say older. So then people would be like, "Oh my God, you look amazing
Yeah,
for your." I'm not.
that's
I will show you
smart.
my.
I
birth
can't
certificate,
even
but-
do that.
You are.
Oh yeah, you have.
If I go, I'm
Josh,
42.
you look
they'll be
amazing for
like, okay.
75.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah.
That is a good tactic. I like that.
Yeah.
That's so much better than the one who's just like, I'm 40 for like 20,
Forever,
you know what I
every
mean?
birthday
Yeah.
is a 40th birthday. Yeah. I don't know. I really like my age because it's symmetrical. I'm 33, so it's like
Oh,
3
nice.
3.
Yeah,
And I just think
my
that's a
birthday.
nice number. Yeah. So
My champagne birthday, because
Oh, okay.
I'm born on March 3rd, and so I was 3, and so I don't really remember it. So I like 33 was like my.
yeah.
Nice.
Like
Mine will
March
be
yeah.
88.
It's gonna be a rager.
Yeah.
No,
'Cause
108.
108?
You're
Oh.
not born August 8th. You're
Oh,
born October 8th, I
108.
believe.
Do you think I can make it?
And 88, we got to stop with the Nazi propaganda.
I had a clip of me pointing on stage, and I really wanted to like post it with like a bubble out of my mouth that said Heil. And I did it because I was like, my family's not gonna be happy. I was like, everyone else will get it, but my family will not be happy.
Just don't put them in close friends.
I don't do it close. I can. It's a lot of work.
I
Oh
know,
no,
I-
it's too much work. to
And then what
carry.
happens
Yeah.
if you meet, like, I feel like a lot of, like, my close friends I've met in the past year, but had I set this up, I'm not going to remember to add people.
No.
And then you
Exactly.
end up, like,
Well, and then you're gonna spiral. You're gonna
And
like
I'm gonna
run into
spiral.
someone and be like, by the
Like,
way,
like,
I meant to add you to my close friends. I did it. I'm sorry.
The only thing worse than getting rejected is feeling like you're rejecting someone else. Like that is probably ultimately
No.
what we're gonna end up talking about for me spiraling eventually. But
I think
That's
what's
fair.
more embarrassing is the opposite, where you put someone in your close friends and they're like, really? This person thinks of me as a close friend?
yeah.
What? We don't even
That's
know each
so
other.
funny.
That's more
Sometimes
embarrassing.
it's like kind of heartwarming though. It's like I haven't talked to this person in a decade, but Like, I'm honored that you're comfortable with me, like, sharing your, like, Instagram story. And it's never anything. Like, I feel like I have one friend who, like, is a close friend, but it's normally just, like, whatever song he's currently listening to. And I'm like, that's an interesting thing to only share with your friends.
So, I mean, I get that because I sometimes, like, want to post, but I don't because I'm like, there's no reason to post this. But I just, like, it's almost like a release.
Yeah,
like you know,
it's
I
kind
hear
of
a
like
song
writing in a
that, like,
diary or something.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, just releasing it. But a few people can see it. I do that on Twitter all the time. I'll like tweet and then delete it immediately. Actually, but I feel like I got it out. And someone could theoretically, you never know. Maybe someone's gonna hack me one day and they're gonna.
I'm just gonna
my
turn on
secrets.
notifications on your Twitter, and I'll get a message
I'm like,
every
I don't know
single
if I
time.
follow you. I'm gonna be stalking you later. I need
Shit,
to.
I have to stop tweeting about Sarah now.
Just like 5 a.m. drunk tweets. It's gonna be like
damn. All right.
some questionable shit. No, I used to tweet and delete, but these days I gotta stand by it and never delete.
right,
You know,
you're
I'm
right. I
sticking
should've.
to
This is
it.
Yeah,
this
I
is
should've.
my thing. This is what I do. Like if I'm really angry at somebody and I want to retaliate, what I do is like you come up with a crazy revenge plan. But then because I have like a weird memory for like dates and so I remember like everything. I will think to myself, what's the next nearest date that's like an anniversary for this person or like whatever between it that it's going to be particularly hurtful. So then I'll sit on my revenge plan until that date, knowing that by the time that happens, I'm just going to get over it naturally. But I get to like be in the anger and the spite instead of just being a good person and being like, I know I should just move on. I get to like lie to myself and tell myself I'm gonna destroy this person.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you like, let's say like you wrote a passive aggressive tweet about that person, but you like preset it, like you use like a software and you set it for them to see it on like their anniversary or something.
An
like
8-month birthday subtweet timer,
Exactly.
Yeah.
alarm in your phone.
Or like a scheduled tweet.
Exactly. Scheduled tweet.
I'm just
Okay.
I know like when you're in the moment, you're like, I'm gonna destroy this person, and then I write some like nasty. Like I've never actually sent anything. I don't think. I feel like I screenshot every like slightly passive aggressive thing I've sent to anyone and sent it to you. Has anything I've sent ever been
No,
insane?
I don't.
Yeah.
No. I've seen much worse on there. Yeah.
So like the real angry stuff, and then I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna wait until this day. And then I know that by that, like the last time this happened, like it was literally 4 days later. And like by like day 2, I was like, oh, I'm not even angry about it. I've forgiven this
Yeah.
person internally. And
Well,
I-
that's
Wow,
That's
that's
why-
so healthy.
Yeah. Well,
That
but
is
it's
not how my brain
but
works.
it's like through spite though. Like I'm like, I'm gonna ruin Christmas for them, or I'm gonna ruin like whatever day. Like I'll ruin their birthday. I'll ruin, and then by the time that comes around,
You don't care.
you're over it.
See,
yeah.
no, I am very strategic with revenge. I'm like waiting. But I'm like on a 10-year plan. There's like a restaurant that's gonna get a review in about like 2 years.
Sometimes I
There's
tell myself, like, when I realize I let the same person hurt me continually, I'm like, no, I'm playing the long game. I'm collecting data. This is a study, and one day,
That's what I do.
Okay, so like, do you have an example of when that day came and you like 10 years built up like hostility, rage?
Like, do I have an example? No, but like I hate like like my ex-boyfriends always like end up like in my jokes or in my
jokes is a good way.
or like in my
Yes.
tweets or like in
Yes.
my art, and like I'll get back at them that way. Or
Are
like,
any of
sometimes I'll
them
just-
comics? Because then what you
Yeah.
should do,
Or
write
you
a
can
joke
call them out,
about.
yeah.
Write a joke. Don't even write a joke about them. Write a joke in the style of them, but do it funnier than they ever could. I feel
Right.
like that's the.
But
like,
they have to pick up on it. It has to like not go over their head. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true.
That's the only risk. Yeah, it's good when it's a comic because you can very easily like embarrass them through a joke. If it's not a comic, like I had all these jokes about this guy that broke up with me, and then I was like, well, he's blocked, so he's never gonna like come see me, and he's never gonna see these jokes. But
Right.
maybe I should invite him. It's like,
But also
3
the
years
jokes
later.
are for you, right?
It's
so
true.
some of that
Yeah,
revenge is
yeah.
like the success that you get through like writing it and then feeling good
You're
about
right.
it.
Yeah.
But if you do it on stage and you don't feel like you need that person to be in the audience to do them, like it's probably not a joke that you care about
probably
that
not-
much.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I
yeah.
feel like my goal, like I don't think any man or anyone has ever written a joke about me. Like almost more than writing my own joke, I would love to be like to
Really?
like get under somebody's skin enough that they write a joke about you. That's such an honor. Where I feel like if I really wanted to be spiteful, I wouldn't write a joke about somebody. I've had an experience where I was like writing kind of like dating material, not out of my own life, but because I was like having to host this like Valentine's Day show and I needed to do like relationship-y stuff. And so like I wrote a bunch of stuff and then like completely randomly, there was like somebody I dated in the audience and I had to be like, this wasn't about you. And then I felt like that was almost more hurtful where I'm like, oh no, I'm like way over you. It's fine. I never wrote anything. And like to me that there's also like that part too, where I'm like, I feel like it's almost more spiteful to be like, meh, I don't care.
Yeah, I think there's two schools of thought on this.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people about it, like especially comics who date other comics or just comics who talk about their breakup. But like, there's two ways. Like, if you're spiteful, it's like don't talk to them. Like, keep their name out of your mouth, like so that they don't even know how much you care.
Yeah.
I subscribe to the other school of thought where I'm like, I'll just fucking say it. Who cares if I'm being vulnerable and like whatever? Who cares?
It's your
like,
own story. You're allowed to say whatever
Yeah.
you want. The worst for me is when you're like, let's say you're like in a situationship with another comic and then they're telling jokes about other women. And like,
Yeah, that
has
sounds terrible, actually.
That,
No,
that
I
has
haven't
not happened.
but-
I mean, I guess they could have been about me, but like, they weren't. I wanted them to be about me.
oh my God, you're like waiting there.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's happening. And then he says like a specific detail and you're like, that's not me, not
No, I
me.
was definitely too drunk. I just didn't remember that it happened. It definitely happened.
Oh, that's
It was
brutal.
me.
I would like to start a petition for comics to stop dating comics.
I will sign that
let's
immediately.
get this done.
Yeah, I will sign that immediately. I'm done with it. I don't even want to talk about it right now.
Okay, but hang on. Let's really be realistic though about it.
Oh, that's never gonna happen. No.
It's never gonna happen. And like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it sucks. Okay, actually, like, because it's mostly women. Like,
Yeah.
I'll ask like the males in the room. I know, like, would you guys ever date or fuck a female comic?
No.
You're like completely out on
No.
it,
Yeah.
Matt.
The second one.
No.
Date or fuck. You would fuck but not date? Do you mean the second? Okay,
I see.
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Wait, so you would fuck but not date?
Yeah, but not someone in the scene I'm in.
Okay, but just a no, but just like a
Okay.
female
Oh,
comic.
well, that's different too.
But would you?
Like, if it's not someone I'm gonna be working with, like, sure, but,
Regularly, like, you're fine.
but that's
But
almost
would you-
like disconnected from.
so you would
that.
fuck, not
I don't
date.
know, but more just that's disconnected. It's more like there's someone like in the same city or in the same like maybe even potential like working year as me. Like no shot. Like I don't want that.
Why
I don't
not?
want none of that.
Why not? I want to understand why. Like, what's the main reason?
I don't know. It just it's,
Other than you own a comedy club and it's
yeah,
a bit of a conflict of
but
interest.
Even before that, it's just kind of there's something like about like it's like a different relationship once like women in comedy that I know when I work with, like I see them work, it's a
Right.
different level of like relationship that I have with them
Yeah.
mentally. You know, I think my brain shifts, you know?
Yeah.
And like maybe like you know what I mean? But I just think that like I don't know.
your
Before,
brain shifts.
like-
Your brain shifts how? Sorry, Sarah. I'll
that's
get
okay.
right back to you.
I don't like view them anymore as like I don't know like the same. I don't view them as like a man or a woman anymore. It's like they're a comic. You know what I mean?
colleague.
It's just
Yeah.
no, not even
No,
colleague.
okay.
It's I have so much like love for comedians in a different way.
It becomes almost like it's like a family. It's like incestuous
Exactly.
in a way.
Yes, yes.
So before I did stand up, like I've been obsessed with comedy and stand up. Like one of my big like high school, like when I was in high school, my big celebrity crush was Norm Macdonald. I remember being like in second grade watching like David Letterman for the first time and being like, I feel like I have a crush on this man. It's not like sexual, but like just I've
Right.
just loved comedy all my life. And I remember when I finally was like, I'm gonna try it. Or just before I started just going to shows, I would be like, I am in love with every man who's on this
Same,
stage. Like I thought it was
same,
like
yeah.
the hottest thing until I started doing
Exactly.
stand-up. And this isn't
Oh,
to like
okay.
to denigrate anybody in the scene or any. This isn't like a personal
can
thing.
if
It's
you
like
want.
no, like this isn't like then I met all the comics and it wasn't like
That
that.
was
It
it
was
for
like
me.
as soon as I started doing it, it just became such a part of my identity, and it just almost made me like asexual, like in the comedy scene. Like I think when I first started, I dated like one comic for a couple months, and then I was like, no, I'm done, and nothing like personal, and it's just like I get that you're out, you have a weird schedule. There's other people that they understand what you're going through. You have things in common. They're people you're seeing all the time, but it's just it generally is not like. yeah, I feel like it's kind of like sometimes like the more I love somebody, the less I want to fuck them in a way. Like it becomes like I have a lot of good guy friends. I don't want to fuck them because they feel like brother. Like it feels
Right.
And there is a bit of that, I think, it's stand up. But yeah.
I mean, it's definitely the smart thing to do, right? Because you don't want to like it. You know, it's terrible when you're like just want to focus on your stand up and want to just do your set, and then you have to like then factor in being like, oh, I don't want to see this person or that person, and it's like awkward between us right now, and like it gets in the way. That's terrible. But I feel like that kind of happens regardless because even when you're not dating people, I just find like somehow like the comedy scene just attracts like people who are like a little off their rocker.
For sure.
And I've had
built into
people
it.
just
Mental illness is
start,
built
like
into
even
it.
other women just start drama with me for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I want to avoid this person. And I'm kind
Yeah.
of like trying to figure that out right now where like, you know, the balance of like, do I just soldier on because I'm not going to like let them get to me? Or am I like, you know, maybe I'm doing too much therapy, but it's like, do I want to protect my energy and like, you know, do what's healthy for me? So I don't know.
I guess it depends what's protecting your energy, what matters more, right? Like it's like if you know, like for me anyway, I like when I went through a breakup and I had to avoid someone that was like a comic, the way I did it was just like, well, comedy is more important than like not seeing this person.
For
Or, like,
sure.
Yeah.
Just like I just had to
You made the right fucking decision.
just had to be like, I just like, you know, and like I have crazy stories of like even bringing like AirPods to shows and like putting the AirPods in while they say their set because like I can't deal with hearing. I don't want to even risk. I was at a point where I like couldn't risk what you were talking about, where like they're talking about a girl and it's not you. I couldn't like risk that, so I'd like bring AirPods and just like fucking so like put head down and then like do your set and then leave. Like that's kind of what you have to do. But also, I don't know who's giving you shit, but fuck them.
It's better. It's over
Don't
now.
let it.
It's
don't
over
let that
now.
shit
Yeah,
get
it was
you.
before-
I could tell so many stories. I feel like now the scene is much better. Although clearly, if you're getting, Alana's like the best person. I will like, I will beat up anybody giving her shit. But no, I feel like what you're saying too, like where comedy is more important. I think that I think is generally why I haven't been attracted to a lot of comics since I started, or even a lot of people. Like, I feel like the more I do stand-up, the less I date. And it's like, one, comedy is more important. I don't have time to date. Two, I feel like fulfilled. I feel like I belong.
Yeah.
This is like and so whatever my relationship needs are being met through having that, like it's possible that I'm just like very avoidant and I've got my own like I'm emotionally unavailable and I have my own issues with relationships. But I feel like before I started doing stand up, I was like more interested in dating. Like I went like 3 years or something without dating, like without so much as like holding a man's hand when I was like really into stand up. Cause I'm like, I got like bullied over a relationship, not with his stand up. That's a whole story I don't want to talk about. We'll talk about separately. But like, I was like, nothing is like, I love stand up so much. There's no man. I can't imagine loving a man as much as I love this.
Right.
And so I was just like, fuck it. And so it's not just, I don't want to date comics. Like I didn't want to date anybody for a very long time. And
I think that's like maybe the only thing, like, I think that's how a lot of people, I mean, people who do it seriously feel about it, is that it's number one and then everything else is number two. So that would be maybe my only argument as to why, like, I sometimes see, like, I get it why, you know, like comics end up together, because it's like, if you both have the same number one and it's okay that it's not you, that is a easier place to navigate than to date someone who's like outside of it and doesn't really understand and can't really understand and won't be able to like get it when you're like, I have to prioritize this. I can't be here on New Year's. I can't be here on Valentine's Day. I can't be here on your birthday. Like I have, like, you know what I mean? And of course, like, there's balance and you can find balance. And
is there like a man that cares about Valentine's Day? Like, oh, how dare you? Like, is that even a thing? Or are you talking more like?
I'm sure. Like, I mean, it's just about making time for
Especially
somebody.
now, yeah, for sure.
Just
There's a
about
lot
making
of,
time.
you know what I mean?
You care about Valentine's
more
Day?
sensitive boys. No. Me, like Valentine's Day. No, I'm a sensitive guy, you know. But definitely more and more sensitive guys. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like out there.
I don't know, because I'm like, in theory that sounds good, but I'm like, I feel like I would be unattracted to that. Like, if like a guy's more into like Valentine's Day than I'm like, no, because I don't care about stuff like that.
On the I think it was the first episode we ever did, Michelle was talking about like like sometimes she'll yell at a boyfriend or something and they just sit there and take it. And I just imagine that like the same thing, like a guy like sitting there mad about Valentine's Day. Like it's a very funny like image.
Yeah.
And for some reason the guy's sitting there in his briefs. I don't know why he's wearing briefs.
Yeah, he's naked.
With little,
He's
with
not
little
naked.
hearts on them.
No,
because
white briefs.
That's how I yell at my boyfriends. I make them get undressed first. I make them get undressed. I make them sit in a corner, and I yell at them.
That's literally just how I imagined it this whole time.
That's true.
I
It's
respect
true. Okay, so what? I don't know what I missed when I went down to give my cousin her
I feel
keys.
like we were
but
just talking about vitamin D.
Yeah.
I don't know.
vitamin D.
Low-key, I actually really liked the close friends. We were talking about close friends.
Oh, yes.
And they both
I've
have
never
completely
used-
different views
Well, I
on
don't
close friends.
use
It was great.
Yeah. So
like the feature.
Like the
Like
feature.
Instagram. Yeah.
I actually have a fun like little story about this. I was
Yes,
just telling someone about it yesterday. So last week there was some comics in Toronto who had like a party, and the way that they invited everybody was that they put you on their close friends, and then they put up the poster, and it weirdly was the like I went like, and I got there and like the almost like a big chunk of the Toronto scene was there. And I was just like, oh, this works so well because it makes you feel like it's an exclusive invite.
Right,
A part of
right.
you is like, wow, they went out of their way to like add me to their
Yes.
close friends to come to their birthday.
Yeah.
So there's a part of you that goes, wow, they really like want me there. And then I showed up and like everyone was there. So I was like, oh, like they did this to everybody.
They
But
make
it was
it look
like,
exclusive,
But what a
yeah.
great like marketing
For a
technique.
show even
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Show, like a
Too.
secret show and be like,
Like
I
a
only
secret
get
show.
Feel
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't use close friends. I don't like post a
Too
close
much
friend.
work, you're
Everyone's
saying,
a close friend if it's
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, it's, I hate like making people feel rejected for not that anybody would know, but what would happen would be like I would have set it up a couple years ago and I would have had whoever on it, and then like say somebody like you, I met you, but I wouldn't have added you because I'm too ADHD to like even think.
Right.
And then
I'd be
what if one
very
day you
mad.
found out that like through a mutual friend I knew longer, like not that you're cool, you wouldn't get mad, but like then I would spiral over like who's on my close friends. Also, I never even use like social media. The amount of effort it takes to just like promote my own show, like I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same like aversion. It's very hard to do. But what's your take on it? Sorry, really quick. Not to
my
double.
take is that it's even more embarrassing and worse when like you put someone on your close friends and then they're like, really, like this person thinks I'm their close friend. Like,
Yeah.
why did they put me on here? Like, that's
Yeah.
such a risk of doing that too.
Yeah, I think that's like for like a dating thing. Like if you're like just starting to
True,
see someone and then
yeah.
you put them on your close friends, it's like a little bit like
Too soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
You have-
crazy dating
yeah.
move. If you just add
Oh,
one
God.
person to your close friends
No, oh,
and make
God.
it look like you're posting to everyone,
yeah.
that would be insane.
But that's people do it. It's like
Really?
it's a technique. Yeah, I think I can't remember if it was early Call Her Daddy, but like I think early Call Her Daddy was saying what you did, that like
Okay,
that is
okay.
too much and
Right.
like embarrassing. But then I've also heard on other dating shows that they're like, no, like yeah, like put the only person you put on your close friends with is like the guy you're seeing or the girl you're seeing, and then just like do
But
stories
what would
for
that
them.
do? It's just
It's like inciting them to
What
answer.
if they don't watch your stories?
also
though?
what I do-
I will not watch stories out of
But if you-
spite. I'm
if
like,
you
bitch,
put-
you don't deserve me.
But I
watching.
post the
I also
same-
never. If you guys are like, you never watch my stories, it's not. I also just forget to log in. And
No.
yeah.
But with that is that it actually does feed the algorithm, because if you're
I
a close
see.
friend
Okay.
and you're put on a close friend, it brings it
It
to the
brings
top
it
of
to
and
your
you can
bubble.
see it with like a more different color. Because I was like, I'll just post the thirst trap for everyone and then like pray that they see it. That's
what I
check
do.
like every 5 seconds.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I did that
I
last
can,
night.
like- and you know what? You never know. Maybe you're gonna reel some new people
Do
in
you
with
scroll
that.
back in your Instagram and be like, oh, I remember who I had a crush on at that point in my life, and I know
Yeah.
exactly who that. And it's like, but I have this thing where I can't delete an old post. Like it's like
You're
a
wearing, like, a different
I'm like, no,
sports
I am
jersey,
going
like,
to
every
like
month.
I am. Well, no, the sports jerseys
Yeah.
are always for me. But I am going. I have no shame, but it's like, oh, I know exactly why I did that, and so I've just like stopped
archive
posting.
it.
I only post for comedy reasons now.
Yeah.
You can okay, but I'm like I also have no shame. It's just I know what it looks like, and
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that about thirst traps, because I did that last night and then I lost 6 followers.
No.
So
Oh my
did you
God.
post the thirst
That's
trap
sick.
and check how many followers you had immediately?
No, I just remember yesterday that like I remember being like, oh wow, like I was at like 49 and then like noticed I was like, oh, 55, like, oh, cool, whatever. And then I posted the thirst trap. And then after I looked back and it was 49 again. And I was like, oh, so I lost all the followers I gained. Or like it was probably different people.
bots, actually.
But it felt good.
I am going.
they were just intimidated. That's
This is-
all.
No, I think it's because I like brought Jesus into it. And
Oh, yeah,
people
that'll
are
do it.
religious
Yeah.
these
Oh,
days.
So I-
yeah,
no,
true.
I-
You did a thirst trap and
Okay.
I would
brought
love to
Jesus
see
into
this.
it.
I
Oh
posted
my
a
gosh.
picture, and I still know. I used to have an app where you could not only know that people dropped you, but you knew exactly who. So there's
No.
like people they're still on my hit list. No, I'm kidding. But like I posted it. This was like I was living. This was like back when I was in LA, and like it was kind of like a joke. So like not every girl, but there's a lot of like female comics in LA that are just like drop dead gorgeous and would like
Yeah.
post all these like
They're
bikini
actors
shots.
and,
Yeah,
like,
they're
yeah,
like
they're
actors.
LA.
They're models, and I was kind of making fun of that. I'm not at all that hot, but I feel like but I was trying to be like facetious, but I don't think I'm like ugly enough that
You're
it
not
comes
ugly enough to
across
do that. You're
as
still
a
pretty.
joke.
You're hot. You're hot.
I'm like average. Like I'm definitely average in LA. Maybe I'm like a 7 in Montreal. On the internet, I'm definitely a 5.
Chime
I
in
know,
in the
but, like,
comments.
chime in. Tell
Rate
me what
Sarah's
number I am.
hotness.
Yeah, like right side better than left side. But so I posted, and it was also like kind of I had a stupid crush at the time, and like within 20 minutes of posting it, he did contact me. But
so it worked.
So it worked. But like I posted this thing, and I lost like 5-6 all of which were Montreal comics who I know every one of them.
That's
I know
crazy.
I try to be nice to them now, but I know who you guys are, and a lot of them were men. And this was like I was like, oh, am I too skinny for like what? Like what? I don't.
I would love to know who they are after the show.
Yeah,
That's
off
so
air,
interesting.
please tell us.
Maybe their girlfriend saw it and then they made them unfollow.
I was like,
or-
this wasn't for you. This was one. It was a joke.
What was the caption on it?
Here, well, it was also my birthday.
Fuck Montreal comedian.
It was like 2 pictures. So it was like me in a bikini, and then
Unfollow
it was
me, I
like
dare you.
it was
Exactly.
Instagram. It was during the pandemic. It was like Instagram pandemic birthday versus reality pandemic birthday, and it was like reality was like me being all
Okay, I like
sad,
it, I like
crying,
it.
and then I like tried to pose in my parents' basement in like a bikini to like make.
I love
but
that.
like
That's great.
it wasn't that good, but it was.
But it worked. So it was.
Well, it worked. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm over that crush now, but like it didn't really work. But I
Yeah.
also lost a ton of followers, and now in the back of my head, every time I have to look these comics in the eye, I'm like, what was it?
Like what made
What
you
was
go?
it about? Yeah, are my tits too small, or are they just right? And that was an issue for you because you know I'm never gonna fuck you. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I post a thirst trap these days, I just know exactly what's going to come into my DMs, and it's for the girlies and the gays and the male comics. That's it. Those are the people that slide in, and then just Tom Murphy always being like, "Bro, chill."
I love that.
I'm like, great.
Gotta
thanks.
keep you humble.
Thanks so much.
That's funny.
Yeah. Are you spiraling about anything specifically? Did we get into that?
We haven't gotten into that yet. I'm always spiraling about a million different things, including I was like, I don't know what to wear for this podcast. I was like watching several episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, I'm
It's
like,
a
it seems
daily
like it's like a
struggle.
casual vibe, and like, what if I gotta like can't blend in with the background, and like, but I figured it out. But yeah, I think like the main, actually speaking about stand up, because I haven't been doing that many shows lately, and I'm like spiraling about like, okay, I have to make a return to stand up very soon. But I also have all of these other like creative passions and pursuits and stuff that I
Right.
like to do. So it's like, okay, how much time and energy do I want to give stand up versus like these other things?
Right. What
Yeah.
are these other things? Because like when we spoke, like
Yeah,
big reason I
yeah.
wanted you on with too is because you're like such a multi hyphenate and you do all kinds of other things and you're a writer and so like
Yeah.
what else have you been doing that like hasn't allowed for stand up to like necessarily be a priority?
Yeah. Like first of all, I'm a journalist, so like I like to like write articles sometimes. Like I've like turned some stories down because I'm like I like turn stories down from the Globe and Mail. Oh, I hope the editor doesn't listen to that because I was just like I'm just not in the mood to write an article, which is like
That's cool though.
I didn't do the article, so it's kind of like I didn't do the thing.
But I mean, what a testament to like, I mean, your career. If people are asking
well-
and you're able to say no.
I get. I mean, what now?
the
He'll
Globe
never,
and
he'll
Mail.
never ask me again. So it's like then that suffers. I want to like really. I want to get back to like longer form writing. Like I I used to write like short stories or like personal essays, or like I wrote like a play one time. I was trying to get into like TV writing a bit, so I was like doing like writing scripts and stuff just to have them.
That's
and like
awesome.
but like I haven't really been doing any of that since I was focusing on stand up, and I was kind of like, okay, well, how do you decide? And I was like, okay, well, like right now I'm like drawn to stand up, so I'll just kind of like go with that. And also like that you get like immediate feedback with stand up, whereas, you know, if I'm just like writing something in my room, I'm like, is anyone even ever going to see this? It's not that motivating always. But then it's like, well, then what if you start to like get drawn to other things? So this is my problem. Maybe you guys can help me figure it out. Because I go through a cycle where then I like keep getting drawn to new things, and then I never succeed in any area. I just like dabble in like a million different
Right.
Like a
things.
Renaissance
I
man. You're
think-
like a little bit good at everything.
Jack of all,
Yeah.
jack of all trades, master of none.
The thing that you in
Yeah.
your situation, since you're so busy, the thing that you should do, I think, maybe
Yeah.
sucks. It takes a lot of the fun away from it.
Yeah.
Is really just like show up, do your set, go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not because
Right,
like
right,
the
right.
hang is also the best part.
True, that's a lot of
Riffing
why
with
I
all
do
the
love
comics.
comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, when you're busy, it's like to choose those moments when it's like worth it to hang out rather
Yeah.
than like an open mic where you're hanging out for no reason and it's not really like, you know, because the hang is what kills you with comedy, I find, is,
Yeah.
you know, you do the shows, even if you're doing a late show, you're done by like
Yeah.
12:31. It's not that bad. But then
Yeah.
you end up staying out till 3:30 and you're
Yeah.
like getting
Yeah.
home you're going to bed at 5 in
Yeah.
the morning now
Right.
when you could have got like 12 hours of
I'll do
sleep or whatever. 12
I'm
hours.
not good at stand up if
You are
I'm
never gonna get
drunk
12 hours.
or high. And like,
Yeah.
I'll do the thing where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to Grumpy's and like I'll just like go to some random open mic. I'm not like like 'cause my schedule's so erratic, and like I need a show up, go up show sometimes. I can't book in advance. And then I get there, then I run into somebody and they're smoking a joint and they're like, and I can't say no. Like I'm very good at
Exactly,
when
yeah.
I'm home alone, I can be like, I'll be like sober for months if I don't go out.
Yeah.
The second somebody hands me something, I'm like, okay.
I
And then
know.
I can't, then it's like suddenly I've gone all the way to Grumpy's. Now I can't do my set because I just can't form sentences.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to wait till
Yeah,
after.
just wait till after. It's
I
not-
know,
Just
it's-
wait like 20 more minutes.
Oh, I'm my own worst enemy. I'm very aware of this.
But I will say it's like that's hard for me because I moved here when like I didn't know anybody here. So I formed all of my friends through stand up. So that's like my entire
Yeah, no, for
social
sure.
life. So I hear what you're saying, but I also do find it a lot of work even without that to just like write the material, rehearse the material, like prep for the show, like do the set, like even that takes,
Well,
you know.
there's
Yeah.
you're 100%, and that's amazing because you
Preserving
gotta
creativity is tough.
And my
gotta-
brain just being like not burnt out.
for sure.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find
But-
I don't have time for social life and stand up, so I want to combine both. And then I don't really write about my like real life, but I write about real feelings, and real feelings come out of like socializing with people. So I kind of like need that to draw from. Also, I used to have a absolutely terrible time in the comedy scene back in the day, and I'm like, I'm finally accepted, like people are nice
Yeah.
to me, and it's like I feel like a little kid who was like a nerd forever, and then they're invited to their first birthday party, and it's like, so I just don't want to leave, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of almost like the social aspect more than the comedy aspect. And then there's like a thing in the back of my head, I'm like, what if I get good again and then people hate me again? Because there is
You gotta like
there is that.
Yeah. I mean, even if they do hate you, who cares?
Yeah.
It's the same people that are unfollowing your
Yeah,
thirst trap.
exactly.
I mean, I think-
whatever.
I had the best conversation about that with actually this summer with Maddie Kelly, which I guess I'll just name drop her, but she had a great advice. We were talking, I was like, yeah, like I just feel like, you know, I got a lot of hate. And she was like, well, they were always going to hate you. So just keep it moving. Like
Yeah.
there was nothing you were going to do that was ever really
Yeah.
going to change their mind. Like they were always
Yeah,
gonna
I
hate
think
you.
my thing was it was
So-
like a lot of people, and it was for things that weren't true. Like and
For sure,
nobody
for sure.
told
Your-
me. I
your
didn't find
situation
out. It was
was
like a year
specific.
or two, and I didn't find out until somebody posted something online. And I'm like, I had no idea. I would go to shows, I would sit down, and people would get up and move to the other side of the room. Like I wouldn't get invited to things. I was
Yeah.
I was banned from a comedy club because I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
and I didn't like just the crazy. The,
No,
like,
you had a
sexual
very
harassment rate,
traumatic-
like,
yeah,
it
traumatic
was
experience,
awful. And
for
now
sure.
that I'm back in it. And like, oh, people actually like me. And then like some of the newer comics when I was starting out, I ran into one And he was like, you hosted my first ever show. And I was like, there must have been something so hateable about me for people. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he was like, you were the nicest person. Like, that was such a great experience. And I was like, oh, I was never the monster people said I was, but I was treated that way. And so like now I'm back, and like it's very like validating and vindicating. And then like some of the people, most of them are gone now, but the ones that are still there, I'm like, oh, they're trash. They always were trash, and they're doing the same things to other people. But unfortunately, at the time, they had a lot more power, and there was a lot of them. And nobody even told me what the issue was. So I'm like, and I was bullied as a kid. So I'm like, is there something? I remember like asking a friend of mine who was like kind of friends with this like one comic that I barely knew, and she just hated me. It's not whoever you're thinking it is watching it. It's not her. It's a different person. And he asked, like I like asked him, I was like, what's the issue? And he's like, sometimes people just don't like someone's face. And I was like, what? Like, I'm like, what can I do about that? Like, I can't change my
But that's
face.
what I mean. Like, there was not, they were always,
But it was,
like, if it's like,
there was nothing I could do, but it felt so personal. And I do, like, last night I was hanging out with some comics, like some of them I hadn't really hung out before, all lovely people. I had a great time. But then I did smoke a joint because somebody offered me a joint. I got a little bit high, and then I start spiraling because I'm like, sometimes like when I'm high, I either won't talk or I talk too much. This was one of the nights when I talked too much. But then I'm kind of like exaggerating things for like comedic effect. I'm like, what if they think it's true? What if they think I'm a terrible person? And then I find like now everybody's kind of like chill and fun, and you can joke around. But back in the day, I felt like just existing, people hated me, and so it's hard to.
It would be hard for you to gauge because you had this like extreme experience that is not very common. Because I would say like right now, none of that applies. And not only that, but like for the average person, like for me, I definitely always have that like anxiety where like, you know, I'll go to a party and then like the next day I apologize to every single person, right?
Right, anxiety.
And, the anxiety apology tour. But they're always like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like they never remember.
That's like in real, like, my experience was weird.
Yeah,
but, like,
and then I had one friend who was just like, you are always like compared to everyone else, you are the person who is fine. So
so that's 100%.
So I feel like anything that you say that like you think is so crazy, especially hanging out among comics, another comic is doing crazier things and saying crazier things.
Or you like the time we showed.
Can I say something that is horrible to put in here? The other day, I literally said to someone, I was like, you know how comedians are? I was like, you know when you're like you're living your life and you do something and you're like, I wonder if anybody noticed that. I wonder if they're gonna talk about it. With comedians, they always do, and they always do.
But that's what I kind of mean, and I feel like we were talking about this the other day too. It's like the social contract of being a comedian and being part of a scene is that everybody talks shit.
Yes, there's
like,
so much shit.
Exactly.
I literally generally like
No,
most
but you
people,
have to talk
and
shit.
it's hard to when people don't like you, and you're like, I work so hard to see the best in you. I don't understand.
But I think what's happening, and because I do it as well, and I just figured this out actually, is that like if like the way that you take somebody else's like almost like perception of you in that moment, you abandon yourself by joining the crowd. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if you're like the second you go, oh, did I do too much? It's like you are now part of the crowd that in your mind is perceiving you a certain way. And so like what I've done, I've tried to be intentional of times when I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, like don't go to the other side.
Right.
If at the very least there's only one person on my side, it's going to be me, and just like double down, like just double down.
I think for now it's fun, but I like literally lost opportunity. I was banned from a comedy club. So it's like I had to like
speaking to the choir, like you're preaching to the choir. Like I know, like. I know I don't know exactly how you feel, and not to the same extent at all.
Like your advice is very good now and very applicable now.
Yes.
But I think I still am like dealing where I'm like, I have to remember it's not the same. And if it is now, I will name names, and like I don't like canceling people. I just like I think ethically that's the worst thing you can do. But like if any of this happens again, I now know I have enough people on my side. I know some of these people have done these things to other people, so now I have people to look out for. And so if any of you guys want to pull that bullshit again, I will name names. I have friends in high places. But
there you go. See? Totally. And like that's what happened to you is not acceptable. And I think that if that were to happen now, I think it would be
I also think
completely
it happened to
different.
you in the peak of the world being like that.
But it wasn't
And it
any like
heightened.
it wasn't that I had like woke people when I went to LA and I was getting booked on woke feminist shows, and I was having, even in Montreal, I'd have like, you know, female studies professors come up to me and be like, kind of a clip of that. It had nothing to do with what I was saying.
It's just also like, it's like, it's crazy the way it all went down.
My
and
comedy
everything
got
that
edgier
happened, like,
afterwards because people were telling me I was an asshole. So I'm like, okay, let me say offensive things then if you're going. Like, I was doing like bear puns and like I watched some of my old stuff and I was like, oh, this is irritatingly woke. I don't like it because it's too one way. I just don't think comedy should be too one way. I think you should play both sides. But it wasn't. I was none of the things that people, you know, and saying that like it was just insane. Like, I'm literally doing a PhD in like rejection and like making people feel accepted is like the most important thing to me. And I'm being told I'm a bully. I was told that like people said I broke up a marriage. I would never cheat. I would never like, I'm very monogamous. I would never break. Like I once really liked a man that was in a relationship. And when I found that out, I never like, I just went away. And then, you know, like I would,
but see, like all these things, you know, right?
Yeah.
Like at the core of yourself. I'm not trying
but
to
it was
like
like
tell
the
you how you
two
feel.
things that, no. And it was like it was just like, it'd be one thing if they were like, oh, Sarah's kind of like a fucking weirdo or we don't like her. Like, that wouldn't bug me, but it was, they were saying things that were like so antithesis to like to who I or was antithesis to who I am.
Consequences of that,
and they were real, and it's like
That's
it's so hard to art. And they're like, and it wasn't like, oh, this is my side of the story. I'm like, I don't have a side to the story. This is like completely
it was almost made up.
Yeah.
When I was like 5 years ago, I had like a close group of girlfriends, and we were like maybe like. It was like kind of like it was like my core group was like 5, and then we're friends with like another 5, and so like we were like way too like there was too many girls all from the West Island, so it was bound to kind of implode. But a similar thing happened where something I said out of concern to one of the girls from the other group that I was very, very close with, almost like for a decade, like literally had gone through like so much with this girl. That information got completely misconveyed to her best friend who was also friends with me. And like in that moment, all of them decided that like through this misinformation that I had done this thing that I didn't do. And then they all just ghosted. And it was kind of the same thing of this reality of like, is like what, like, am I that terrible that all these people that I thought I was friends with
and they would not even give you a chance
by so quickly
in like a drop of like by the drop of a feather didn't even give me the grace or the like the benefit of the doubt. And that's a huge mind fuck when you have a group of people telling you that you are someone that at the core of you, you're like, I fought my whole life to not be this.
You know what I mean? Like the thing I'm most passionate about is not being this.
And I got called a mean girl and people I went to like people I knew, like multiple people, like I'm gonna go on maybe a dozen people who had known me for more than a decade, all sitting in a room talking shit about me. And that like does something because I know you get a note. You're like, if I get this note 10 times, maybe there's something going on, you know. But like that was a learning experience of being like, no, actually, those girls are mean. And they never liked me. They never they would have never believed in me anyway. They were waiting for this moment to happen so that the hammer would drop. And it was horrible and painful and so isolating. And I really, really relate.
Yeah.
But you just
have to
keep it moving. And then you have to accept that is their perception. They're entitled to it. But that doesn't mean it's your perception.
And that isn't
yours is just as valid.
I know. I think it's like,
and that's not how most people are. Because it's like you probably went on and made better friends, like
real friends who literally like. Funny you say that because when I moved to Toronto, I ran into a girlfriend that I had known from Montreal in another life. Like when I was 19, she was like my best friend, and Montreal's so small. She happened to actually know one of these girls, and she, having not seen me for a decade, this girl told her that story, and she literally went, "That's not Michelle."
Right?
That's not. She's like, I haven't spoken to Michelle in a decade, but I know that's
she
not
wouldn't
her.
do that. Or I feel like my best friends now, like if I did the most terrible thing in the world and told them about it, they would be like, where do we bury the body?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a real
yeah.
friend, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like that
yeah.
person had it coming.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
yeah,
like
for
loyalty, like ride
Yeah.
or die, you know, that's like, those are
sure.
the people that you meet.
For
yeah.
sure. And I mean, in my situation, it was a gift in the sense of like, I got to move on and I don't associate with those people
Yeah.
ever. And it's like kind of the best thing ever because now they keep doing it to each other. So
Yeah.
I'm
But it's a real trauma.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
all this
Oh, yeah.
research showing that like so like social pain, so rejection, being bullied, it's easier to relive than physical pain, and it's experienced in the same way, but it's harder to get over and easier to relive. So in that sense, it's like it'd be like if you had a swarm of people beat the shit out of you, and like obviously anybody would see that as a trauma, and they'd be like, "Of course, Michelle, that's going to destroy you." But like what happened to you is just as bad, if not worse. But I feel like people don't understand
and
that
also
in the
women
same way.
feel things are like I think I read somewhere that like women are able to recall the emotional pain that they felt at the time at the same way that they felt it like when they recall it.
Yeah.
So like you're
Yeah,
able to
yeah, yeah.
access the same, and men don't have that.
Interesting.
So sometimes when you're like fighting with your girlfriend, this is like when you're fighting with your girlfriend and your girlfriend is like, you know, that time that you did this, she is literally feeling it.
Wow.
The same way she felt it at the time. That's why she's getting so upset, and that's why sometimes between men and women there's a disconnect because the guy's like, yeah, but we moved past it.
Yeah, we worked
like
that
we're
out.
not.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not. That's not real. It's not happening right now.
I wish my
I don't know.
bullies-
We can fact check
my
it. But
biggest regret
that's-
is that my bullies weren't more attractive, because how fun would it be to like fuck one of them while like getting to relive that anger, just like that hate fuck? I feel like that would be exciting, but they're like literally the ugliest people I've ever seen.
My elementary school bully, I had a few. My elementary school bully got really fat after high school.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
sick.
And and then apologized to me, and then tried to then slid in at 3 a.m.
Oh, no way. That
One
must
night.
have felt good.
It felt great.
Did you respond?
No, absolutely
Okay,
not.
good.
Absolutely not.
You could have responded something mean too, but it's better to just not. Like
Yeah.
I had an ex just say hey to me recently, like no response, and I'm just like, oh, it feels so good.
It feels so
I
good.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The funniest thing is I had a guy that was just really embarrassing that I hooked up with. And at one point, my friend had told me that he had gotten this like massive promotion. So I like went on his LinkedIn. But if you have premium, you can see like LinkedIn's the biggest snitch. Like they'll tell you.
Yeah.
So he messaged me on Messenger. This is the most delusional thing I've ever done. Messaged me on Facebook
I'm
Messenger.
challenging. I want to like beat you for delusional.
where you can see the person's name and see who. And he said, "Hey, so saw that you checked out my LinkedIn profile." And I said, "Hey, who is this?" On Facebook Messenger. I was like, "Hey, sorry, I don't know who is this."
That's not delusional. That's clever.
He wrote his name, and then he's like, "Oh, I guess I must have been mistaken. I guess you didn't check it." And I said, "No, I didn't," and I fully did.
Yeah.
Let's hope he doesn't watch this podcast.
That's like gaslighting for
Clip it.
good, a good cause.
It was
I
really-
support that kind of.
It was a
gaslighting.
really fun gaslighting. Yeah, it was. To gaslight
Yeah.
someone on Facebook Messenger, though, that's like, who is this? It's like, it's
Their
clearly
name is there. There's so many photos of them. There's
gotta
like an
be-
endless supply.
Is there
of
like a
photos.
third-party app where you can anonymously look at people's LinkedIn? Is
Well,
there?
there's a way on
a good
LinkedIn.
idea.
There's
You just
you
need a
can
burner.
change the settings. Oh yeah, you could do a fake and like a fake
Like a
Finsta, but
Finkton?
Finkton. But there is a setting. I can show you after. There's a setting where you can make it so that the person
Okay.
doesn't see.
Even
Yeah.
if they have premium.
I think so. I think even if you have that setting and they have
Okay.
premium, unless I'm wrong. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I just avoid LinkedIn. I love like
LinkedIn and
not
TikTok
even,
too.
Like,
They're
I will
always telling you
stalk
who's
anybody.
looking at your
Fuck
profile.
the TikTok shit.
I've
what
never been
the
on TikTok.
hell,
Oh, yeah,
man?
I don't TikTok.
I don't
Nobody
know
gets
TikTok.
any TikTok love from me because I'm not trying to have them get a notification. I looked at their
Right.
video. That's
Wait,
crazy.
they know if you look at your
If you
Tik-
look at someone's profile, they will get a notification. Sarah Quinn looked
What
at
if
your
I
profile.
don't have a TikTok and I know how to look at a TikTok on like?
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
If, you
then
don't,
it-
if you're not signed
they
in.
don't
If I
know
don't
it's
have
you.
my own TikTok, but I know how to go to a website and
No,
look at
they're
a
finding
TikTok.
Yeah.
they're taking your VPN and they're
Yeah, exactly.
associating it with your legal name. No.
So basically, never email anybody whose TikTok I've been on.
Oh, your email is associated to it.
Well, like your email will have your VPN.
No.
No, they won't go that
are you
far. I'm
looking
just
at it
kidding.
with
Or
an
your
account?
eye or what-
Are
No,
you
you guys
logged
are-
in?
No, I don't have a TikTok.
So then you're good.
But I will admit, and I
address,
will
I
admit
think
that
is what-
like sometimes I
Yeah.
I want to
yeah,
see a
IP,
TikTok, and so like I'll go to a website where you just go like tiktok.com/@ whatever the username is, and then you can like look at a TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't go on TikTok.
I don't want to download it. There are apps. This was I was spiraling about this last night because like I'm out like with comics, I'm having a good time, and they're talking about like using like the incognito mode like on like Google Chrome or whatever, and they're all talking about like the porn they look up. And I don't like I have no issue with porn.
Porn
I'm
on
not
incognito.
like I'm not like big.
I always go
I
incognito.
do incognito. You know what? It's force of habit.
don't.
From like, but you know what? I was always on my own computer, but I feel
I don't
like
watch porn on a computer though.
Oh, okay. I do, and I don't know what. I also turn off the sound because when I was
Yes,
like
me too.
growing up in my family home, I always had to turn off the sound, and now it's just like
That's what headphones are for.
I couldn't risk.
Watching
no, that's
watching
crazy.
porn
You
with
can't-
headphones
Yeah.
is too like
Yeah, that's
immersive.
No,
too
not
much.
that. Just you're gonna get walked in on. You know what I
What
mean?
if you
Like,
live alone?
Yeah, that's
no, that's fine.
that's
but
fine,
it's
but
like
it's force of habit
it's
from
just
being like a,
same.
a
I don't watch
teen.
with sound, and if I turn the
Yeah.
sound on, it's almost like
Yeah,
let's stop.
yeah.
Now, yeah.
But like my point, like I have no issue with porn. I've seen porn, but I'm
Yeah.
not like
You have.
big. I'm not like big into porn. / I feel like I live alone. I have my own
Yeah,
laptop. Like
yeah,
I wouldn't go on incognito mode. But I want to join the conversation. But what I use incognito mode for is there's like websites where you can like watch people's Instagram stories without them knowing. Now anybody I follow, I'm fine with just watching their Instagram story unless it's like out of spite and I don't want to watch it. And also I normally just don't even have time. But like I will like, and I was like telling this
Don't
story
have
of
time
like
to watch Instagram
there was, like,
stories,
a-
but you have time to go into incognito mode and watch somebody you're not following's Instagram.
I don't do that. It's when there was like a time there's like a guy I was like dating or whatever. My friend's like he is with a woman in a hat, and from that information, I found out who she was, where she lived, her birthday, where she worked, but then I was able to like watch her Instagram story because like she didn't have enough followers.
Did you get
like-
her birthday and then you planned her revenge for her birthday?
No, I'm not. I will befriend that woman. I will never blame a woman for the actions of a man. Like that is very. We bonded over, but that's a different. She was not the woman. This is a
I
completely
was
different
not
event.
the woman in the hat.
Yeah, she was not in a
But-
hat. This was a different time.
But
different
that is
story.
how we initially became friends.
But, like,
Oh
yeah,
wait,
no, I
this
will
is
never.
my favorite like friend plot.
genre of friendship.
Yes.
This is friendship
I
origin
am
story.
fighting every woman that used to
Yeah,
hate me and
yeah.
think I went around breaking up marriages by befriending every woman that slept with the same man I have.
Yeah.
Like this is, but also you're just amazing, and I'm glad we're friends.
Oh,
but,
same.
That's so funny. I actually just saw a TikTok of a girl that literally found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and she calls the girl. And I think she didn't expect this girl to say yes, but she's like, "Hey, do you want to like get brunch?" And like the girl's like, "Yeah, I do. Like tomorrow, let's get brunch tomorrow."
Amazing.
Like the day they find out that her boyfriend
See,
was
look,
cheating.
is a good
Was
thing.
cheating.
sometimes.
It brings people
He
together.
literally
Yeah.
said, "I'm so happy to see you with friends. I'm so glad I brought you two together." And I'm like, that is such
I
a
know.
weird way
Narcissist.
to.
Narcissist that he said that. Ew, yeah.
yeah. That's the only. I'm like, tell the story. I don't give a shit. That's the only reason I say don't clip it because he's gonna be like, yeah, I brought them
Yeah,
together.
I did it.
Fuck yeah.
Right.
Yeah, please don't clip it.
No. I mean, Matt's does my clips, so.
Matthew's already clipping it. Subtitles are on.
He's on.
Okay, I will say
The
the
guy is
N-word. I
getting
would rather
tagged.
have
On
me
Close
saying
Friends.
the N-word as the clip.
You
Okay,
can't
let's
have
go.
that.
1,
I
2,
wouldn't.
3.
No, I really would rather not. I would rather you didn't.
Okay, we both have to
maybe in
fuck
the
a black
other-
guy and
maybe
they
in the
get
other
really
studio.
angry about it.
Yeah, true. No Edwards in Studio B.
Yeah, no, not in this studio.
Only Studio A.
Yeah.
Not on this side of the YouTube channel. Maybe on the other side, but not on this side. Oh my God. Okay, well, we have to wrap up, but this was really a lot of fun. And thank you both
yeah.
for
Yeah, thank
being
you.
here and being here on time and getting up so early.
I woke up early anyway.
Yeah,
but that's spiraling.
It was great. It was a great episode and great to have you both and good to see you both because it's been a while, actually.
Yeah.
We will see you all, listeners, next Friday. Thanks so much for being with us. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.